Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to join us.
Thanks for having me. How you guys doing?
We're doing good. It's a great day of basketball previews, and we're happy that you're a part of it.
Happy to be here as always.
Coach, obviously last season was something special too, running a gauntlet of 25-0 before meeting Akron, St. Vincent, St. Mary in the playoffs, but still a very, very special group of boys that you had last year. And obviously knowing what you've lost in guys such as Trey Metzka, what are some of the guys that you're excited about bringing back this season that you think are going to have significant roles on this team, as well as some younger guys that maybe are going to get some playing time down the stretch?
Well, right now, we have an extremely young group with so many new faces. And, we've spent a lot of time this summer and through the fall trying to get some of those younger guys up to speed. I only have two kids returning that have that played in any varsity games last year as far as any significant time. Obviously, we're going to, rely on Ronnie Leonard, who's my lone returning starter, to really, start us off. He doesn't have to carry us, but he's obviously going to be a big factor in determining what type of season we have. The other person that I'm going to be relying on pretty heavily is Sal Schaefer, and Sal was in our 7-man rotation last year and had some big moments for us. But his role is going to be very different this year than it's been in the past. So for those two guys, they've been around the program for 4 years now, and they've both played significant varsity minutes. Obviously Ronnie's been in the rotation and as a starter for some time now. But after that, I don't have another guy that's, that has any experience to hang his hat on as far as the varsity level goes. But I'm excited because I believe we've got a lot of really good players filling those shoes. Some guys that I'll be leaning on that are names that people might not know. Dante Colorasi is a senior, and he's been in the program and really knows what I expect. And he's got a very good skill set. He can really shoot the basketball. And at this level and at any level, that's a skill that doesn't go unnoticed. And it's going to really help us out this year, especially with our post play. Chance Lasco's another kid who's coming up. He's going to be a junior this year. And it has really played well the last 2 years at the junior varsity level. Plays with a ton of energy. He's got a lot to learn, but he has the potential to be a very good player this year and moving forward. After that, we've got some guys that haven't, been on the radar yet, but I have one kid who I think is going to have a breakout year. He's going to be a junior this year. His name's Nick Delgrada. He was on the varsity roster last year, but because we had so many good guards, it was just difficult to get him enough minutes to warrant that, and he really played well at JV level. But I mean, in all intents and purposes, he's a varsity talent. He was last year. Gives us a lot of size, but he's going to be on the wing and he's going to handle the ball for me. So I'm very excited about that group of guys, and then I've got some guys that I'm looking to see how they develop. Coming off the bench, guys that have played, again, significant junior varsity minutes and have been with me. So we'll see where that leads.
With some young, inexperienced teams, they can fall into traps of kind of going through the motions or trying to just kind of get through and develop during the season. But with you guys and the success you had last year, how much do you see that drive? How much do you see that give your team that drive to try to continue that and try to uphold the tradition that you guys have kind of put in place as a program? I mean, that's got to be something that kind of lights the fire under some inexperienced kids.
No, that's a great point. Tradition, I don't know if I've been here long enough to establish a tradition. I think, we've had some very good success the last 2 years, but, this group, the first time we got together in early June, I mean, we really, I made it known, last year was over. As a matter of fact, it didn't take me long to get past last year after the St. V's game and start looking ahead to this year. Every team is very different from year to year, no matter how many returning players you have. And we talk about that a lot, early on. This group has to carve out its own identity. And what you hope is that the returning guys that are stepping into roles that are unfamiliar to them have that same, that same drive that the group before them did, but also understanding that, this is their opportunity to place their stamp in Struthers basketball and make their mark. This is their group, and I'm excited to see, what this group becomes, because as of today, I don't know what we're going to be yet. I think we're going to be good, but I don't know. And it's going to take a long time, to figure that out. But this group is hungry. These guys have all been around the program. Our JVs and varsity practice together. So, when I say junior varsity kids, like, these are kids that are with me every day. And they were with this group last year. So, I mean, they might not have been on the floor, but they got a taste the past couple of years of some of the success that we've been fortunate enough to have. And I think these guys are excited to make their own mark and put that on themselves and see where it takes them. So, they've worked very hard, and, we will not use our inexperience as an excuse in any way, shape, or form. To be honest with you, don't have time for it. And listen, at this level, these guys have been with me. They don't know what I expect by this point, even though they don't have varsity minutes, then, it's not going to happen for them. And this group, they understand. So they're going to be okay.
Looking at your schedule too, obviously you guys ran the gauntlet of the NE8 last year, and looking at the conference schedule, talk about some of those teams that you expect to be some challenges. And as well, I see that non-conference wise, you're doing a little bit of a mini tour of the AAC as well. Well,
for us, the Northeast 8 is always good. I mean, there's never a down year in the league. Some programs might be at different phases. Maybe you could say that about us this year, but Poland's going to be good every year. And regardless, that's going to be two very, very difficult games for us. Same thing with South Range. Even though they have a new coach this year, that program is built on toughness, and I don't see that changing. They've really been a group that's really pushed us every year. Jefferson is I think getting to the culmination of a group that's been with them for 4 years. They might be the most talented team in the league this year. So that's going to create problems unto itself, and it's never an easy road trip up there. Other schools in the league, I think, Girard is a team that's really going to be I don't want to say a surprise. They really got hurt last year, being a Trumbull County school with all the time that they missed because of COVID and the restrictions from the county. But they've got a lot of talented players, and they have a player in Thomas Cordero who can win a game for you. And when you have a senior like that, or actually he might be a junior this year, but when you have a player that's that good, that can win a game for you, then you're always a threat to win. But he's got a lot of nice pieces around him. And I think Girard is a team that's going to challenge for the championship this year. Niles is always very well coached. And, if anybody's ever seen us play Niles, those games are nail biters every year. And Hubbard, Coach Bornemus does a great job there. He's been thin with his roster, but I thought last year they really took a big step forward. And I think they're going to do the same this year. Lakeview's kind of an unknown to me. A lot of it depends on the style of play. They've always been very good in this league and at the top. And with the coaching change, I'll be interested to see what they look like. But he's got some varsity guys that have played a lot of minutes returning. So, I don't know that I've left anybody out, but, I'm not sure where we fit in the league. But I know the league is going to be really tough. Now, our non-conference schedule, we've got some pretty good schools coming in here. We play Warren Harding at home. We've got Cleveland St. Joe's, Villangelo St. Joseph's at home. We have Hudson from the Cleveland area at home. We've got Mooney. So, I feel like we've got a very, obviously McDonald again this year, who's always really well coached by Coach Francischelli. And, so we're going to be tested early and often with our non-conference schedule. And hopefully, it's not too much for us, but I think it'll prepare us as we wind down the season.
I gotta ask about being able to play in this field house, the historic field house at Struthers, and what that's like, what kind of privilege it is to go into practice every day in it. And, I think you get a lot of these non-conference teams coming into Struthers because they kind of want to play in this Struthers Fieldhouse. And I know a lot of area teams want to get in there to try to prepare for a tournament game that they might get into. So talk about what it's like to play in there and what a privilege it is to kind of call that field house your home.
No, that's one of the things that is, it means a lot to me as a coach. I'm an old school guy when it comes to facilities like that. I grew up in facilities like that, and that, I know now everybody wants new facilities and all the bells and whistles, but there's a comfort level that we have with playing in the field house, and at the high school level, I think, like, you hit the nail on the head. A lot of schools like to, get an opportunity to be on that floor, and especially tournament teams that could possibly be playing, in the field house down the road. So it is a neat place. I mean, my job is to put a good product on the floor and help us, put as many people in the stands as possible. I'm excited about this year. Early on, I'm excited to see what our attendance looks like after having a year where, so many people couldn't see us play. I think with the teams that we have coming in, that's going to help, because we do have some, name recognition as far as the schools that are coming to our place to play. So, I'm excited to see a very big crowd on a nightly basis. We started 2 years ago. Our crowds really started to get bigger and bigger, and, before COVID hit. And, if we didn't have a COVID year last year, we had some games last year that would have been, we probably would have had, around 3,500, 4,000 consistently for some of those games, talking about, our Poland game. And when we played McDonald, I think at that time, we were undefeated. And I think McDonald was 18-1 or 19-1. And then obviously, some of the tournament games that we were fortunate enough to host. So, it's a wonderful venue, and we're blessed to have it. And we don't take it for granted that we get to play there. We have a responsibility to play our butts off when we're playing at home, and it's exciting. So I for me, it means a lot.
Talking about that community, I know the Wildcat faithful show up strong too, especially when good products are put out onto the athletics. Talking about your staff, though, we kind of did our meet the team session. I want to do a little bit of a meet the staff session too, and highlight some of those assistants and some of those other big proponents that are going to help you out along the way this season.
Well, I'm really fortunate to have the staff that I have. And as a matter of fact, it's funny you bring that up. I was just talking to a couple of my assistants last night after practice in the office, and kind of saying the same thing. How fortunate I am to have the staff that I've had. I don't know a lot of other staffs in the area as far as the continuity that they've had, but I've been fortunate enough to have the same staff pretty much since I've been here. Chris Cole is a veteran in the area. He's had different head coaching stops at Mineral Ridge and Cardinal Mooney, and he had a tour at Struthers before I got there. And somebody who's just been around, has a ton of experience, and is just a soft spirit. The kids love him, and I'm just so fortunate to have somebody who's been around for so many years to kind of help me out on a daily basis. And his contributions to me are invaluable off the floor. He's really somebody that I can, bounce things off of, especially when it's, maybe even non-basketball stuff. So I'm really lucky to have Coach Cole. Coach Aldish, DJ, he's a former player at Struthers. And, the one thing about my staff is they all have a Struthers connection. And they're so passionate about the school, and they're so passionate about the success of our student athletes. And for me, I think that's the most important asset that an assistant coach can have, as far as, bringing that every day. Our kids know how much our staff loves them, and there's nothing that my staff wouldn't do for them. DJ does a tremendous job. He coaches the JVs, and, he's been around. He's been with me for my whole tenure here, and just does a great job of motivating kids and has their best interests at heart. He's always a guy. He's the first one there for a ride, or if anybody needs anything. And I'm very fortunate to have him. Jason Pangio is my freshman coach, but he's also all of my other head coaches, meaning JV freshmen, are all guys that are considered varsity assistants as well. And they're, in addition to coaching their own teams, they're with me every single day, which, again, makes it wonderful. Coach Pangio is a great basketball mind. And again, another former Struthers basketball player and somebody who, really, there's nothing more important to him than the success of our program. I mean, he is all in with the community, and it's a wonderful thing. The other thing, we added another assistant coach this year who actually teaches in the building, Brian Garkar. He's the head soccer coach at Poland, and they just came off of an unbelievable year. And he's a tremendous head coach at the soccer level, but he's been on Coach Grisdale's staff for many years. And he's been a tremendous asset in the short time that I've had him so far. And he brings a wealth of experience from two different fronts. Being able to be around Coach Grisdale's staff and all of the success and the legend that Coach Grisdale is, anything that that he can bring over to me is going to be a benefit. And then somebody who's had success in a crossover sport as a head coach is again another invaluable tool for me. So my staff is wonderful, and then I've got Eric Anderson and Lou Mateo at the 7th and 8th grade level, and again, Struthers people, Struthers athletes, and I just think it's so important in a community like ours that all of my staff have the connections to the community and to the school as former athletes, and it's just a wonderful thing for me. I'm very fortunate to have all those guys.
What a star-studded staff. We all know Brian Garkar very well, and if anyone watches the Poland girls defense, he has his hands into why they've been so successful over the years. So he's especially the defensive side of the ball, he's a very great basketball mind and obviously a great soccer coach. Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. We look forward to covering you this season, and as the season goes on, we'll talk to you again real soon.
I appreciate it. Anything I can do for you guys, and it's great to see your faces again. It's hard to believe that it's almost here. What's today? Today's the 4th. 1 month from today, we'll be tipping it off against Mooney, and I know other teams will be starting a little bit quicker than that. But it's an amazing time of the year, and good luck to all the other coaches out there and everybody else that you guys have talked to. Thanks again.
Save us some popcorn in the field house, all right?
I hear you.
Thank you, Coach.